Unverified allegations and deceit swirl around the White House as accusations build over the motive of President Trump's firing of former FBI Director James Comey in May. Now, that's all back in the spotlight after Michael Flynn, who was Trump's security advisor, admitted last week he had lied about the talks he had with Russian officials, with Democrats saying Comey's firing, who was investigating links to Moscow, amounts to an obstruction of justice.
What we're beginning to see is the putting together of a case of obstruction of justice. I think we see this in the indictments, the 4 indictments and pleas that have just taken place.
He sets out that he wasn't acting as a rogue agent, that in fact he was acting with the knowledge and at the direction of people who were senior members of the transition team, I think probably all of which ultimately ended up in the administration.
Well, Donald Trump tweeted on Saturday to explain that he had fired Flynn for lying to the vice president and to the FBI. But critics say that Trump has in fact incriminated himself by admitting that he knew about the lies in his Twitter post. But as Jacqueline Vouga explains, the mainstream media has descended into what looks like another fake news frenzy.
After almost a year of investigations into whether Team Trump and Big Bad Russia were in on it together, the only concrete things to come out of those inquiries is a couple charges of making false statements and a shocking revelation that we knew a year ago.
This building doesn't see anything necessarily, inappropriate about contact between members of the incoming administration and foreign officials, no matter what country they're from, right?
No. And again, this has been ongoing. We have no, no comment or no problem with them doing such on their own.
The Obama administration saw no issue in Michael Flynn's conversations with the then Russian ambassador because it was par for the course. But that didn't stop the media running wild over his guilty plea, throwing fact-checking to the wind. Like ABC's award-winning chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross, who won't be on the air for the next 4 weeks because of his false reporting on Flynn.
He's prepared to testify, we are told by a confidant, against President Trump, against members of the Trump family, and others in the White House. He is prepared to testify that President Trump, as a candidate, Donald Trump, directed him to make contact with the Russians, which contradicts all that Donald Trump has said at this point.
That bombshell report sent shockwaves across the nation, even tanking the U.S. stock market, only to be proved fake. In reality, Michael Flynn was asked to contact the Russians only after Trump had already won the election, which makes a world of difference. You can't sway a vote that's already played out. ABC issued an apology about how they deeply regret this serious error, saying they had not fully vetted Ross's story. Well, maybe they should have known better, given his history of producing fake news. Back in 2001, Ross made the explosive claim that Saddam Hussein may have been responsible for anthrax attacks in the U.S., citing only anonymous sources. The White House personally shot down that story and what they referred to as concocted claims. One news agency described Ross as, quote, having produced more high-level haphazard reporting than perhaps any other reporter on television. Although, to be fair, he's far from alone when it comes to misreporting, especially when it comes to stories on Russia.
He will dispute that he ever assured the president that he was not under any kind of investigation.
On March the 30th, and I think again on April 11th as well, I told him we're not investigating him personally. That was true.
Corrections, clarifications, and apologies are all well and good, but more often than not, once the fake story is out of the bag, the retraction does little to put it back in.